Nikon Z6i review. Whether Nikon Z series mirrorless system succeeds or fails depends disproportionately on cameras like the Nikon Z Roman II. As a 24 megapixel, $2,000 full-frame mirrorless camera, the Z Roman II is aimed at many of Nikon's target photographers, DSLR holdouts, Z upgraders, first-time Nikon shooters, and more. Traditionally, even though $2,000 is far from cheap, it's a bit of a sweet spot for many camera companies and photographers. Lots of cameras around this mark have high-end features and don't skimp on much compared to $3,000 plus flagships, making them a good value proposition for both hobbyists and professionals. The Nikon Z Roman II is no exception. In fact, the Z Roman II is arguably the most important camera in Nikon's lineup today. Photographers who buy a camera at the Nikon Z Roman II's level usually don't stop at the camera and kit lens. Nikon's entire ecosystem of high-end lenses, flashes, and other accessories depends on the sales of the Z Roman II. That can't necessarily be said of cameras like the Nikon Z50 or even the Nikon Z5, which target a broader audience who may only ever buy one or two lenses. No wonder the Nikon Z Roman II's competition is so fierce. Almost every camera company depends on this type of photographer to some extent. At the moment, there is particularly close competition from Sony and Canon, which we will compare throughout this review. Other companies like Panasonic, Fuji, Pentax, and Olympus also have cameras around this price point, although not all of them are full-frame or mirrorless. The camera isn't the only equipment that matters, either. Before you decide on the Nikon Z Roman II, you need to make sure that Nikon's lens lineup suits your needs. With a total of 16 lenses for the Z system at the time of this review, Nikon's native mirrorless lens lineup isn't as large as that of Sony, Olympus, or Fuji. Considering that the Nikon Z system is so much newer than the others, it isn't too surprising. But that's little comfort if you need a lens that Nikon doesn't have. So, how well does the Nikon Z Roman II meet all these challenges? Further, is it a meaningful upgrade over the prior generation Z? This review, with our extensive field and lab tests, answers those questions and more. As you can see, despite some similarities between the Z and Z Roman II, the newer camera is a clear improvement overall. While some of the major specifications have remained the same, such as the 24 megapixel sensor, most other areas like processing speed and video features clearly lean in the Z Roman II's favor. In fact, aside from a very slight increase in camera weight and size, every feature on the Z Roman II matches or beats those of the Z Roman II. Nikon didn't go backward in any area. One improvement that we are especially happy to see is the addition of a second memory card slot to the Z Roman II. The original Z and Z only took a single card, while the Z Roman II has a second slot meant for SD cards. We plan to use the SD card slot as a backup rather than overflow, but both options are available in the Z Roman II's menu. One of the most important parts about a camera is how well it handles in the field. Historically, Nikon's intuitive handling has earned it plenty of praise, including in most of our reviews. But the Nikon Z Roman II is only the second generation of Nikon's full-frame mirrorless system, and early camera generations tend to have more handling flaws in general. While the Z bucked this trend somewhat, it did have a few mild handling issues, most of which we wrote about in our Nikon Z firmware update wishlist article. Has the Nikon Z Roman II fixed any of these handling issues? Further, how well does its feature set complement a camera of this level? To answer those questions, let us first take a look at the camera's control layout.